Pitching the media is probably one of the most important things you can do as a publicist and media relations expert. The reason why we pitch the media is to get stories told in the public. Now, the traditional way of doing this, especially if you don't have the right tools, is very time consuming and very cumbersome. So if you think about it, the first step to this is creating a media list. Now, if you have a marketing background, a lot of people will call something like this like your Dream 100. Think of the 100 places that you really want to get your story told. And a lot of companies for that, it's like Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., all of the big boys. Now, that might not actually be the best Dream 100 for many reasons. It's not targeted enough, it's not the right audience, it's not the right reach, they don't cover your type of articles. Nevertheless, that's what most people want. So you need to find those 100 outlets, and then you need to find journalists. The traditional style to doing this is to go onto entrepreneur.com and then look up someone who's covering something in the B2B space that is the exact same market and niche and has covered a similar story as you. Then you'll put that on a spreadsheet, and then you will go ahead and do more Googling until you can find their email and their phone number or their LinkedIn or their Twitter. So that way you can eventually create a pitch and then pitch them and tell them why they need to cover your story and why you want to get published with them. The other opportunity is to use a platform like Cision or Meltwater to create a media list and do most of that for you. The first thing you're going to notice is a very simple kind of dashboard. There's not a lot to it, and there's really just this option right here talking about audience location, different things. So what we're going to do is, a lot of times I like to use talking about. So this is what a journalist or an influencer is going to be talking about. You can look by what's in their bio, what's all over the place. So this algorithm is basically looking at any information that this journalist has talked about in the past, which is thought to be a good intention of what they'll talk about in the future. So I pre-did this we're just gonna do one for business. So I literally just typed in the term business right here, and you'll see what people are talking about. So there's, according to this, 365 people that have been recently talking about business, and you can basically refine this search down to roles and a whole bunch of different things. So let's just say we want an editor talking about business. If there's specific subjects, so obviously we want business, let's just say it's related to, not entertainment, let's go with financial. So with this, I probably would have done financial, but maybe it's business finance. One of the cool things is you can continue to refine this with different platforms, kind of social media, whatever you need to figure out, cities, reach, but typically you want to have a little bit larger media list than 5. We do media lists that are pitches that are 1-to-1, and then we go up to like about 100. Our team doesn't do pitches larger than 100 because it comes more spammy and less, ideal for that audience. The next thing you can do with this tool is, it's really cool. You can actually rank it by people that have the largest reach. Because of the small list, we don't need to do that, but that'd just be up here in the settings, and you can jump into a specific contact, learn more about them. There's insight tools into here about where they've had success before. There's activity list of what we've sent them in the past, and you can see kind of where they're having the biggest impact across different platforms, so you can find that ideal reach. You can find their LinkedIn, their social media, and reach out to them in other ways. Once you've done that, you can share via email. You can basically select this, add them to a media list. So that's the whole thing we're talking about, is creating a media list. You can download this with their contact information, or you can directly contact them, send them an email. The other way to do that is, once you create this media list, a lot of times what I like to do is I actually download it. I clean it using a tool called Millionaire Verifier, which reduces the amount of bounces to make sure that we have good data. I go through each person to make sure that they're the actual correct person. So I'll manually delete people from that list that aren't the right fit, because we don't want to waste other people's time. Then you'll come to this tool and you'll go to activities, create a campaign, and it's going to look kind of like this. So once we're ready to send that email, you'll name the email whatever you want to name it. I'm just kind of showing you through these steps. So we've created that media list, and it was much faster than traditional ways of doing all of that manual research, going to different outlets. We were able to find people quickly. Then we'll come in here, we'll select where we want to send it from, send a copy just so we can see what it looks like. You'll select your media list here, add any additional email addresses you want. One of the nice things is that gives you templates. I always recommend going with a blank template. The more CSS and HTML or code in the background, basically, the less likely it is to get a response because it's more likely to hit spam walls. We're gonna go ahead and hit next. And then here's where we're actually gonna do the pitch. Now, if you thought creating a media list was hard, pitches are way more important than the media list. So how you structure that, we have a very simple way we do that. It needs to be really impactful. Like if you think an advertisement, you want short and concise, you want to be ad style. So it's a kind of a hook. You get someone's attention, they have 3 seconds, you tell them what you need out of them, and then probably build in a little bit more information. So I put in a couple examples of subjects that have worked well for us, but 4-day work week experts interview. So basically that tells you the pitch is about a 4-day work week and you have an expert that wants to do an interview on it. That's all they need to know, and it's a little bit of clickbaity because it leaves you desiring more. Then a lot of times in an email you have that pretext. So in that pretext you could probably try to build in a little bit more excitement in there. So your subject is so important, it's that eye-catching piece of it. You have your call to action. Typically we put that actually towards the top because we want to let them know what we want out of them. So that way if they're not interested, they kind of move on. But if they're interested, they'll read more, and typically it's going to be an interview with an expert. And then the customization is critical. It's talking about anything that they've covered in the past. If you have a relationship, anything they've covered for you in the past. If they're an old friend, you can really be customizing, like how's your dog? How's Toby? Or whatever that is. Then impactful quote, usually it doesn't always have to be a quote, just something important and again more catchy. So why this is impactful. So if it's about a 4-day work week, it could be talking about, Harvard Review just released a survey, or Harvard Review just released something saying that a 4-day work week is significantly more impactful and efficient, and more work is getting done because people are more motivated during that time, and they're actually wasting less time at the water cooler than they were before. Then put in 3 to 4 talking points. Typically we cut it off at 3 because we want to be concise. These talking points are usually bulleted and super short, and the reason why is if you think about journalists, they have to create content nonstop. That's literally their job. So if you can help them come up with talking points, questions, ideas, it'll get their brain working, and maybe that'll be a better fit. If you remember, when you're pitching the media, your currency is other eyeballs onto their outlet. So they are usually running ads to their sites. So if your story is meaningful and their audience cares, that's gonna get more interested eyeballs, which will get them more ad revenue, which will make them more money and keep them employed. So it's kind of that whole circle of success, and you really need to make sure that you're buying into that and helping them, and those talking points are really important towards that. The next piece of that is that CTA. Again, we're gonna follow up with that CTA, what we want them to do, and then the contact information so they can execute on that CTA. So your email, your phone number, reach out. And a lot of it is super critical. So at AutoPR, we use the OTR method, outreach, trends, and relationships. So obviously creating that media list and sending an email is that outreach part, but making sure your pitch is created in a way that it's towards those trends is critical. So if there's something trending in the news, let's just use the example of Trump. Trump's currently running for president. If Trump just got indicted for something and you have a lawyer who is an expert and can explain what that impact is to Trump or to the public or to the campaign, that's critical. It's timely, it's gonna get picked up, and it's gonna be massive. So using that kind of story is going to be way more impactful than just saying, hey, I have a lawyer, he is good, would you like to talk to him about, law? That's going to be very different. See the difference between just taking what this person's an expert at and just saying, hey, here's my lawyer, he's a good lawyer, cover him, versus, oh, Trump was just indicted, I have an expert in that industry who can give comments and explain what's going on so your public is more informed. Let's jump back in. So you'll create that pitch. You'll put that pitch into here, and it's really simple. From there, you're just tracking or no tracking. Typically, you're gonna get your best open rates when you do no type of tracking, but obviously it's a little harder to see if you have success. and then you'll go ahead and actually submit this and send it as an email. Now, the thing that I like to remind people is time is important. So if it's a trending story and it's a weekend, pitch it. If something just happened, you want to be as quick to the gate as possible. If it's not trending in the news and it doesn't really matter when you pitch it, make sure to do it while ideally people are at their desk. So people travel on Mondays, people travel on Fridays. So that leaves you Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you don't want to do it towards the end of the day when people just aren't paying attention, they're leaving their desk. You want to do it when people are most likely at their desk. We like doing things around 10 o'clock. That does vary. But the other pieces of that is if it is timely, or even if it's not and you're doing a pitch, make sure that you're there to respond, because things move very quickly. If you grab their attention, you want to keep it. So if you pitch at 10 a.m., they respond at 10:05, you respond back at 10:10. So that 5-minute piece, same thing with sales, it's going to increase your chance of having success with these pitches. And then if it's an interview and they're like, hey, I'd love to get on the phone with your lawyer, I probably can get him on a TV placement, can he talk in the next 10 minutes? They might call you about this. You need to be available, and then not only that, but your client needs to make themselves available, because it's going to move very quickly. If not, they're going to find someone else to jump on and take that national TV hit. If you guys like content like this, please make sure to subscribe. And if you check the comments, I have a free gift of a news article that we're doing on your business, no cost to it. Grab that and use it today. Thank you.